guys, I hope you enjoyed the last episode of Soila and Kate's podcast. So today's topic is know thy enemy. If you listened to the last podcast, then you know how we ended. And the topic ended.
Yes, you ended.
We ended.
So we ended?
Yes, we ended, but the topic was what was your conviction?
Yeah.
We are not going to go deep into that. We're not going to mention it. We just want you to go and listen to it.
Yeah. Yes. Now, this series is called A System of Abstinence.
Yes.
Because for us, you know, I acknowledge that there are many systems out there that people use to live a life of abstinence. But for us, we are sharing what worked for us. We are not just sharing textbook knowledge. We are sharing experiential knowledge.
Yeah.
So for us, our abstinence journey was a system of a number of principles that we had to apply. And the principle we discussed last week is what Soila has shared. What is your conviction? And we talked about how love being a better conviction than the conviction of fear. All right? Now, today's principle is know thy enemy. So know thy enemy. All right? One thing, especially for something I've seen a lot, is when you're busy living a sexually active life, you call
getting
that
it
person,
on.
when you're getting it on, you call that person, oh, my angel, oh, you are God sent, oh, you tell them all those heavenly things. But the moment you decide, now I want to abstain, you act as though they are the devil. They are no longer the angel and they are no longer God sent. All right? And that's a very wrong approach to things. And what I just want to bring into perspective is that please recognize that the person you used to engage with is not your enemy.
Yeah.
All right?
There's a bigger enemy than the person that...
It's not your enemy, and you'll be surprised who the enemy is. The enemy is not even the devil.
The person, not even the devil.
It's not even the devil. The devil is a problem, but the devil is not
okay, he's always an enemy.
He's always an enemy. But in this particular context, the enemy is somebody who is much more within. All right? Now, God says that my people die because of lack of love.
Knowledge.
Good. I was testing your Bible knowledge.
Oh, please.
My people die because of lack of knowledge, not lack of love. Now, I'm bringing that in very deliberately because in the first principle, we talked about love being a conviction. But here, we're trying to allude to the fact that love is not enough. Because God says, my people die because of lack of knowledge, not lack of love, which means it is possible for you to love God with all your heart. But if you're ignorant of certain things, you will still die.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
Now, death in this situation is not necessarily physical death, but it is just failure in many aspects of your life.
Yeah.
And in this particular context, we are talking about abstinence. So it is possible for you to love God with all your heart.
Yeah.
But if you don't have knowledge, if you don't have wisdom and understanding about sex and about yourself, you will still struggle with your sexuality.
I agree.
All right?
Yeah.
Now, know thy enemy. Paul comes and tells us that we do not fight against flesh and blood, which means your enemy is not a person, but we fight against principalities and powers. Now, principalities is the same root word where we get principles. All right? So your enemy is not a person. Your enemy is the principles that you are upholding in your mind, the ideologies, the philosophies.
Yeah.
All right?
Philosophies.
The philosophies. In your mind, all right? The thought patterns, the ideas, that is where the enemy is.
Yeah.
Now, if I may go a bit into just discussing spiritual entities, a principality is a demonic entity whose work is to perpetuate certain principles in the minds of men.
Even as a shaman with saliva.
Okay? And sometimes they operate as territorial spirits. That's why sometimes when you go into certain places or certain geographical locations, you realize that everybody in that place has a certain mindset. Everybody in that place has a poverty mindset.
Yes.
Everybody in that place is a drunkard. Everybody in that place
is a divorcee.
Divorced.
So children don't go to school.
Yes.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the purpose of, not really the purpose, but the intentions of principalities is to perpetuate certain principles within the minds of our people. All right? So your enemy is your principles, the thoughts that you have in your mind. All right? The principle, the idea that women are like cars, that you have to test drive a few of them before you settle with one. All right? Who told you? Olisikia wapi?
Don't use that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. The idea, the principle that it's okay to watch pornography with your girlfriend or with your boyfriend or with your spouse, so that it will help you and prepare you on how to steam things up in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Who told you when all the facts on the ground show that there is nothing positive that comes out of porn?
Yeah.
The only people who benefit from porn are the business people, the ones who are making them, because they make money. Yeah. But the actors and the audience, none of them benefits in any way.
Yeah.
All right? So you have to interrogate your mind. What are the principles that you have upheld in your mind as though they are the truth and yet they are not?
Yes.
All right? So know thyself. Understand who the enemy is.
Know thy enemy.
Know thy enemy.
Yes.
All right? And the enemy is the principles that you have here. Those are the enemies. The principles. All right? Not even you as an individual. It is the principles. And one of the ways that principles have been very deeply inculcated in us is through media. The movies that we watch, the music that we see.
It has made it so easy to have sex with no conscience or guilt.
Yes.
Also just have, you see those people call each other friends with benefits. I can easily call you up if I want to have a sexual moment and I move on. As when you reduce it to such an activity that it is just sex, guys. There's nothing to it. So yeah, it does shape and curate such a bad narrative when it comes to sexual encounters and what sex is. And with that, then you are when you say principalities and fight against principles and powers, then they make you powerless to the urge to fight,
to actually do the right
thing. Yes, so you become more easy goose, a loose goose. Anything goes. Whoever comes, yes. People even have open relationships. I mean, you can't even tell why. How can you be in an open relationship? How can I allow somebody to be part of this marriage when I don't feel like being intimate with you in that way? You know, as in we're made so powerless and made so uninformed.
And you're really tempting me to touch a bit on soul ties. Because one of the things that principles do is that they rewire your soul. Now, a soul tie, I often hear people saying soul ties don't exist, blah, blah, blah. Soul ties are as real as this podcast mic right here. All right? Because when you're having sex with someone, is your mind engaged in that activity? Your mind is engaged, isn't it? Your emotions are also engaged, right? Your will is also engaged. That's why you are acting. You are acting something out, which means your will is engaged. Now, what is your soul? Your soul is your mind, emotions, and will. All right? So if you say that soul ties don't exist, then how come the three parts of your souls are engaged in that activity? How come even after that activity, days, months, years after, you still think about that person? Your emotions still feel certain things because of that encounter? All right? And in extreme situations, even your will is incapacitated in the fact that the moment you are with this person in the room, you can't resist.
It's true. And also, people might say, no, I forgot. Like, men can easily say, I forgot about that person. You know, it wasn't a big deal. But in a way,
the moment you enter that room with that person.
Yes, there's that. And also subconsciously, if let's say you're with another person, that experience can easily come floating in your head. It's
Why are you always chasing
Yeah.
something similar to the experience you had if there is no soul tie there?
There is soul tie, which is a conversation that probably
that's an entire conversation
that already did on YouTube. Yeah. You can watch it on YouTube. But we can probably do another. We can
refresh it again.
Yes, with new knowledge for our Patreon members. Yeah. And yeah, you guys will benefit from it. So yeah, you're talking about soul ties and how it is like directing you to...
Yes, so the thing about principles is that they incapacitate your will or your soul from doing the right thing.
Yeah, makes you...
Whereby you know, this is not supposed to be happening. I'm not supposed to be doing this. But your will has been so deadened towards the right thing. It feels more natural.
There's that verse that says...
to do that which is wrong, you know?
That which I want to do, I don't.
Yes, but that which I don't do is what I find myself doing.
You know.
All right?
Yeah.
So today's principle is really short. Understand thy enemy. And thy enemy is the principles that you have held in your mind. And this is the thing about demons. You see, devils don't just come and enter your life and start messing up with you.
No, they find a doorway.
They find a doorway. And what are those doorways? Principles.
Yeah.
So they come and check, how does this person think? Aha, this person hates themselves. This person has low self-esteem issues. Good. Let us get in and manipulate them. Let us make them depressed.
Yeah.
They come and check, what mindset is here? What principle is here? This person thinks that it is a must for them to have sex every day. They worship sex. Good. Let us make them addicted.
If anything,
Right?
yes, I wouldn't want us to end this particular topic without probably giving them a solution. What you
No. There has to be a solution.
Yeah, and what
there
you
has to be a solution.
really cued in is the place of doors that the enemy uses to access us. And I know we initially mentioned things to do with movies and the things we listen, the things we watch, the things we read, the music we listen to. And some of those things, literally, the devil can use to open certain doorways so that we can be able to embrace the principles we're talking about. Like if we see a lot of movies, people sleeping around, teenagers sleeping around, and they can go easily free, they're okay having slept around. If anything, it's like their love is booming and they do a wedding and they live happily ever after. They're like, so it's possible to indulge in sexual activity and still do,
and things are okay.
Yes, things are okay. And now it becomes something that you can easily accommodate in you, and I can pursue it
and move on. Now, I know that our audience is diverse. I know there are some of you who are virgins. You are not active and you are trying to know, how can I actually abstain until I get married?
Yeah.
Some of you are not virgins. You are not married, but you are active.
Yeah.
All right? Some of you are married, but you didn't necessarily live a life of abstinence. You are active through your dating life. You got married and you're still active. Probably right now you even have kids. And you're trying to wonder, okay, so
is there restoration?
I'm here.
Yes, I've been so far.
Yeah, was there a consequence to that lifestyle?
Yeah.
Are there things, is it possible that there are things I could be suffering in my marriage because of that kind of foundation? So we'll address all those things. We'll address all those things. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And please, no, for sure. We are trying to, let me make this clear. The purpose of these videos is not to condemn you and make you feel ashamed and judged. All right? We're just presenting you with facts. We're just presenting you with knowledge. And at the end of it all, we'll crown it with solutions. So you'll be free to decide whether whatever we've said is nonsense or there's actually some essence to what we are trying to say. But one thing I do not want you to leave here think is that these people are judgmental, and that's not what we are trying to do. I mean, I personally have shared with you my backstory. Yeah. All right? I didn't just drop from heaven into marriage. Yeah. I had a life before that. Yes. All right? And it wasn't always the proper life. Yeah. So I'm speaking from somebody who has tasted the both sides. Yes. I wasn't abstaining. Yes, I used to be active. I made up my mind to abstain. Yeah. I abstained my entire 4.5 years of dating this wonderful lady. Yeah. Got married. So I'm speaking from having experienced both sides. All right? Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I'll share my experience soon. I'll find a perfect, what do you call it? Setup. Let Curtis share his on this series. Mine is coming up, which is quite different from Curtis's experience, and I know it's going to bring up other kind of conversations. And I mean, with Patreon, I told Curtis now that's a place where we can just go deeper, a bit deeper, because now, this is a labor of love. This is a place where we've put ourselves, we've spent money, we've invested a few equipments in there, we've invested time to read, time to pray, time to fellowship, so that we can bring you good quality content. And then you're going to hear more about us now, our testimony, and how Christ really worked through us to be where we are, and he's still working a lot in us, that by the time we are doing 2030, we'll be different people from who we are right now. But with that said, guys, I hope you understand thy enemy now. There's a place of prayer. Just pray, understand, let God give you insight of how to go about discovering the doors that you have opened, and now pursuing how to shut them, pursuing how to do things aright. starting having that conversation probably with your girlfriend. Say, I think it's time for us to try celibacy and how to go about it. These are things we're going to talk about even as we conclude, probably maybe the last episode of this series. But we are going to share with you a few insights and a few wisdom and understanding and knowledge and there how to set yourself up for success in your marriage and your relationship. And also, as an individual, there's a wholeness and there's some confidence that comes with you if you have embraced truth. They say truth actually sets you free. You become free from the bondages that have really kept you in a cell for a very long time. And yeah, with that said, guys,
thank you guys for tuning into Soila and Curtis podcast. I hope whatever you learned today was edifying and enlightening. So tune in to our future episodes as we continue unraveling some of these topics that are really, really paramount in our everyday life experiences.
Thank you so much to all our Patreon members. Thank you for being part of this family. We appreciate you, and we'll continue churning out content for you guys in the future.
And for those who are not Patreons, you've probably come across this video on YouTube and you want to know how can you be a Patreon to Soila and Curtis? How can you access our page on Patreon? Just go to patreon.com, search Soila and Curtis, you'll find our page there. You'll find a brief info or introduction of what exactly we are doing on Patreon. And you'll also find different tiers of how you can be able to support us based on the kind of content that you're looking for.
With all that said, you can also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are basically on Instagram, Soila and Curtis. You can follow Soila, myself, at Soila Curtis. You can follow Curtis also on Instagram at Jimmy Curtis.
Guys, have a wonderful time till we meet next time. Cheers.